Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Tiffany Chiropractor and Holistic Health and Life Coach. Today I would like to talk to you about food labels. And there are just a couple of simple things that I want you to take away from this and think about when you are grocery shopping. So with regard to food labels, you always want to pay attention to what you're consuming and what you're eating. Why? Because we know that too much of anything isn't good for you, right? And we also know that a lot of the products, especially the processed foods that are made, use ingredients that are not good for you. And why do the companies do this? Well, if they can use cheap ingredients, that will allow them to create more product. Remember, they aren't thinking about the health of the consumer. They're concerned about fattening their pockets. So if they can find certain ingredients that they can use instead of the more healthy ingredients, and those substitutes are inexpensive compared to the real thing, then that's what they are going to go with. So you always have to keep that in mind. One rule of thumb that I always recommend is when you're checking the label, just remember that the more ingredients, typically the worse the product. So if you see a laundry list of ingredients in there, it's probably not a good quality product that you should be purchasing or consuming. On the other hand, if it contains just a few ingredients and you know what they are, you may not be an expert, you're not a nutritionist, but you can say, okay, this I know is not good for me and this I know is good for me. You're able to identify what's good and what isn't, and you see that there aren't a lot of ingredients listed on the label, then you're probably in better shape versus someone who doesn't pay attention and they are purchasing the items that have a laundry list of ingredients. So to start, let's talk about two main ingredients that you want to stay away from when you are purchasing your food. We already discussed the red dye. So all dyes in general, if you can stay away from them, and I know that the dyes are in just about everything, so if you can minimize your dye exposure, you are definitely on the right track. Now, is it realistic to say don't consume any? I'm not so sure of that at this point with the way that the food companies are set up and the products that are on the shelves. In order to just completely eliminate them, you would almost have to be consuming maybe a carnivore diet or just a vegetarian or vegan. And so for a lot of people, that's not feasible. It's not doable at all. But what you do want to do when you are looking at the labels is look at how many different types of dye they have used to create that product. And if it's a lot, then that's probably not something that you want to purchase, right? Try to stay away from the dyes if at all possible. And if you have to just have something with the dye in it, then just make sure that it isn't yellow, green, blue, red, and every other kind and color of dye, because a lot of products do have more than one different type of dye in them. So pay attention to the dyes. We aren't asking for complete elimination. Just be mindful and maybe pick a product that doesn't have as many as the other products that are more popular that have a lot. The second ingredient is high fructose corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup is terrible for us, and it's in just about everything that's processed. High fructose corn syrup, is not good for us due to its fructose content, right? It says fructose within the name, and that's a sugar. Why is it not good for us? Well, it leads to insulin resistance, and it also causes inflammation in the body, which causes a lot of different diseases, heart disease, diabetes, you name it, right? And it also is an ingredient that leads to weight gain. So if you're someone who's trying to watch your weight, you don't want to consume a lot of products that have high fructose corn syrup in it. And like I said, it is in a lot of our foods. So again, the goal is to minimize. If you can minimize your intake, then you're definitely headed in the right direction. Now, am I saying that you should just always focus on labels and not have something that you enjoy every now and then? Absolutely not. Remember, the goal is moderation, not elimination. But we do have to be, and I'm saying we, because we are all in this together. We do have to be extremely intentional about reading the labels and learning what's in the food. Because once you do that and you know that certain ingredients contribute to certain health issues, then you're more aware and you're more likely to say, okay, I'm not sure that this is something that I want to consume on a day-to-day basis, right? I also do understand that the more healthy products and foods do cost more money. So keep that in mind as well. Our finances, and they fluctuate, right? Along with the economy. But if you can be intentional about maybe consuming less processed foods and eating more whole foods, like fruits and vegetables, cheese, eggs, healthy snacks, nuts, then you're definitely on the right track. You also have to pay attention to the snacks because a lot of them do contain that high fructose corn syrup and the dyes as well. But again, we want to become more aware just to start. And once we become more aware, then we can start to make the changes. So the 2 ingredients that you need to be on the lookout for are the dyes, yellow, red, green, blue, and also high fructose corn syrup. And if you remember, I talked in a previous video about the red dye ban, right? And so that's something that will take a while to essentially be banned from the food list by the FDA. It's not going to happen overnight, but the red dye isn't the only dye that we need to be concerned about. We need to be concerned about all of them because they do have negative implications with regard to our health, right? In both children and adults. And if you missed that video, I encourage you to go back and take a look and watch it because it is something that's extremely important. And before you know it, we're consuming red dye on a daily basis because it's highly addictive, and so is the high fructose corn syrup. And those ingredients were added for a reason, right? They want you to keep buying their products. So if they can slip something in there that's going to cause you to crave this item, then that's definitely what they're going to do because, again, they're more concerned about fattening their pockets and they are not concerned about your health overall. So be mindful. Take the time to start looking. Be intentional when you are doing your grocery shopping. And once you are being mindful and intentional, then you can start to take the steps to purchase healthier products as you deem fit. It won't happen overnight. Remember, we don't want instant gratification, although that's what social media shows us. We don't want that because that's not sustainable. If you go and say, all right, I'm going to go and make sure that I purchase all products that don't have red dye, and I'm just saying I'm gonna because a lot of times that's how we think, but I'm going to make sure that I go and I purchase all products that don't have high fructose corn syrup or red dye in them. how long do you think that's going to last? How long will it be sustainable? Because you're making a drastic change, right? And if this is something that you have been consuming over time, your body has to get used to it as well. So slow and steady wins the race. Pay attention, right? Be mindful and take inventory. Read the labels. And from there, you can start to say, hey, I really don't think that I need to consume oatmeal cream pies or Lay's potato chips every week. And so you may want to cut down and maybe make some healthier substitutions. Maybe get the baked Lay's, right? Or the kettle chips, just for an example. Because at the end of the day, we know that these ingredients are harmful and they're detrimental to our health. So take the time to look at the labels. Be mindful moving forward as you go to the grocery store. And if you need someone to hold you accountable, hey, have somebody come with you. Maybe include your children or your spouse, a sister, parent, family member, or what have you. But pay attention to what you're putting into your body, because what you put in is what comes out, right? And we know that everything affects everything. So until next time, heal holistically, and I look forward to speaking with you soon. Bye.